Hi, my name is Veenal and I'm a CS professional student. Today I'm going to be covering the supplement, which is for drafting pleadings and appearances, Module 1, Paper 3. So this supplement covers amendments and developments from August 2021 to May 2024. I'll just do it super quick. So there are amendments in 3 chapters. Lesson 3, Secretarial Practice in Drafting Notice, Agenda and Minutes of Companies Meetings. Lesson 4, Drafting and Conveyancing, Part 1. Lesson 11, Appearances and Art of Advocacy. So we will start with Lesson 3. Okay. So Lesson 3 is Secretarial Practice and Drafting Notice, Agenda and Minutes of Companies Meetings. These are the revised secretarial standards. The earlier standards were issued on 1st July 2015 and the revised standards are, they've been revised on 1st October 2017, but the effective date of these revised standards of secretarial standards is 1st April 2024. All right. The details of changes are as under. Okay, the first one, in Secretarial Standard 1, which is for board meetings, Secretarial Standard 2 is for general meetings. For Secretarial Standard 1, it is applicable to all the companies excepting OPC and excepting Section 8 companies. But for Section 8 companies, Secretarial Standard 1 is still applicable. The only exemption is from Secretarial Standard 2 for general meetings, and that exemption is only available if the financial statements, annual returns is duly filed with the Register of Companies. If not, Section 8 companies, there is no exemption from secretarial standards, it has to follow it. The next one is physical presence in a meeting. Okay, so the quorum is required, and the quorum the physical presence is what is going to be counted of the directors in a meeting. And this is in respect of restricted items only. Otherwise, it is counted like participation through video conferencing and other audio visual means. That is through electronic mode, through e-mode, the participation of directors is counted except for the restricted items. Yes. What are these restricting items? I will put on a list in the description. Next, director may intimate his intention of participation through electronic mode in the beginning of the calendar year, and that will be valid for the entire year. And this does not debar him from attending in person, provided he intimates this sufficiently in advance to the company. Next, under SS-1, that is for board meetings, unpublished price-sensitive information means any information relating to a company or its securities that is not generally available, which upon becoming available is likely to materially affect the price of the securities and shall originally include, but not restricted to, A. Financial statements, 2. Declaration of dividends, 3. Change in capital structure, 4. Mergers, demergers, acquisitions, delisting, disposals and expansion of business and such other transactions, and 5. Changes in key managerial personnel. In this, there was another point for material events which is now omitted. Next, the interval between the two board meetings should be a maximum of 120 days. Next, okay, give me a second. For these companies, which is OPC, small company, dormant company, and a private limited company which is recognized as a startup. If these companies, okay, what do you mean by recognized as a startup? It, as per the notification issued by Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, as per this notification, if it is recognized as a startup. So this private limited company which is recognized as a startup, dormant company, small company and OPC. These four, it is enough if they hold one meeting in each half of the calendar year, and the gap should be at least 90 days. So one meeting in each half of the calendar year and the gap should be at least 90 days. Next, where the company is required to appoint independent directors, at least one meeting in one financial year there must be of these independent directors, without non-independent directors and without members of management. This should be in one financial year. Next, if the director is interested let's talk about the private limited company first. Private limited company, if there is a director interested in any transaction or item of business, after disclosure of such interest, he shall be reckoned for quorum, entitled to participate in respect of such item of business also. And if the chairman is interested, if the chairman of the private limited company's board meeting is interested, then he, after disclosure of such interest, he can chair the meeting also, he can participate also, and he will also be counted for quorum. Now let's come to the other companies. For the other companies, if a director is interested, he cannot be reckoned for quorum. He is not entitled to participate in the meetings. And if the chairman is interested in the other company, apart from a public company, in the board meetings, if a chairman of the board meeting is interested, he shall entrust the conduct of the meeting to any non-independent director with the consent of majority of the other directors present, and he will not participate, he will not be counted for quorum, and he cannot chair for that particular item of business where he is interested. After such item has been transacted and decided upon, he will resume the chair, he will be counted for quorum, and he can also vote on all the other matters. Next. Director's participation through e-mode is counted for quorum except for the restricted items. For the restricted items, only physically present directors shall be counted for quorum. I've already covered this, it's a repeated point. Okay, this I've already covered. Next, where a board resolution is passed by circulation. Sending off the draft and necessary papers plus delivery thereof. The proof for this, the record has to be maintained for at least 3 years from the date of circulation to the board members. Next, appointment of director in casual vacancy is subject to the provisions of the Articles of Association, and this has to be subsequently approved in the immediate next general meeting. All right. Okay, we've done with Secretarial Standard 1, which was for board meetings, and all right, let's go to Secretarial Standard 2, which is for general meetings. Okay, let's look at the scope and applicability. It's applicable to all general meetings of all companies except OPC, which is one-person company, and Section 8 company. SS-2, which is Secretarial Standard 2 for general meetings, is not applicable to Section 8 company, provided it has duly complied with the provisions of financial statements and annual return filing with the ROC. But despite this not being applicable, the Act is applicable on Section 8 companies. So essentially, practically, they will have to comply with all the provisions of the Act at least, which in essence covers everything. Okay, next. Ordinary business. Ordinary business is the businesses transacted in an annual general meeting. So what are they? First, financial statements consideration, including consolidated financial statements if any. Second, the board report and annual report thereof. Next, dividend declaration. Next, appointment of director in place of those retiring, and appointment and fixing of remuneration of auditors. Next, annual general meeting, Section 96 of Companies Act 2013 should be held at registered office of company or the city, town or village thereof. If it is an unlisted company, it may be held at any place in India with the prior consent of give me a second. If prior consent is received in writing before the meeting. Okay, let's see if they've given any percentage. Yes, by all the members. Of all members. Alright, it can be of an unlisted company can be convened at any place in India if prior consent of all the members is obtained in writing before the meeting. So prior consent. Extraordinary general meeting can be done in any place in India. If there is a company which has a wholly owned subsidiary incorporated outside India, then that company's extraordinary general meeting may be held anywhere outside India. Alright, extraordinary general meeting section 100. Alright, next, government companies AGM. Okay, government companies annual general meeting. It may be held at registered office or any city, town or village thereof, or as the central government may approve in this behalf. during business hours 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and it should not be on any national holiday. Next, general meeting at shorter notice, section 101. An annual general meeting may be convened at a shorter notice if the consent of 95% of members entitled to vote, that is 95% of members entitled to vote by number of members, if the consent is obtained in writing, excuse me. And for extraordinary general meeting, the holders of shareholding, holders of at least 95% shareholding, where they are entitled to vote. And if there is no share capital, then the total voting power which they can who are entitled to exercise 95% at least. So this 95% seems to be the key point which we can remember. Okay, this is covered, this is covered. Okay, continuation of that. The financial statements, consolidated financial statements, annual report, all other documents to be sent. They have to be sent at least 21 days prior. But for this purpose, the shorter notice general meeting purposes, it may be sent earlier and it shall be deemed to be duly sent, provided that such 95% members or holders or exercisers agree. Next, okay, these are all language improvements. Next, interested members not allowed to vote in related party contracts or arrangements except where 95% or more members are relatives of promoters or are related parties. And a private company, they are entitled to vote. As in, interested members are entitled to vote. For a wholly owned subsidiary, holding company's resolution shall suffice for the related party transactions. Okay, that is fine. I'm not sure if there's an amendment. Okay, we are actually looking at amendments covered from August 2021 to May 2024. So I'm doing it all anyways. Next, for a government company, if there is the members who are related parties, they can still vote. But for which companies? A government company, for the contracts, that is the contract or arrangements, the related party contracts or arrangements between a government company and another government company, a government company and a central government company and a state government, or any combination thereof. If it's an unlisted government company, the prior approval of a competent authority is required, except clause A contracts. All right, nothing else or more is mentioned here. Okay, next, every company which has a maximum of 200 members shall transact businesses only by postal ballot instead of at a general meeting, except where the e-voting facility is required to be provided by the company. There they can have a convened general meeting. And next, postal ballot resolution. To rescind a resolution passed by postal ballot, it can only be done by a subsequent resolution by postal ballot or at a general meeting where e-voting facility is required. Last, they've just emphasized on the effective date, which is, though it was revised from 1st October 2017, the effective date they have made it as 1st April 2024. Still have lesson 4, drafting and conveyancing of various deeds and documents, and lesson 11, appearances and art of advocacy left. I will put it in the next part.